Hello, folks, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is the show. We're going to discuss everything in tabletop hobby world. Tonight, we're going to discuss Infinity the game. I am Wild Seppi, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
I'm doing great.
It looks like both of us are looking at painting tables this week.
Yeah. So, while we're talking here, I'm going to do a little airbrushing, if you don't mind. I've got my CO2 set up, so I should be generally quiet. The only thing we should be hearing is a little, actual stuff moving through the gun.
Cool. All right, let's start out how we normally do. What did you do this week in the tabletop hobby world?
This week, didn't do much painting. I was just kind of taking a break from kind of the painting binge I was on last week. But I did get a game. We did go and play in the Infinity tournament. So that's kind of it for me as far as hobby goes. What about you?
Let's see. I finished up the Monkey King. I need to take some photos of him. Did a little bit more on some commission stuff, and yeah, that's it. I mean, trying to get back into the Infinity meta. So.
Yeah, you're kind of the man when it comes to Infinity, aren't you?
I wouldn't say I'm the man, but I try to help promote the community.
So, what all did you do in Infinity? Or how did you promote the community, sir?
So our local shop started to get some players back up into coming. So we're getting some gameplay started up again, one night a week, and then like you said before, we were down at this weekend alone was pretty big for Infinity tournaments. We had one in our local area, and then there was Rumble at Route 66.
Oh, was that this weekend?
Yeah. And our buddy, good friend of the show, Dexter from Sharkman and Laser, took first place.
Good job, Dex. We knew you had it in you.
I believe they had 49 players.
Holy cow. That's insane.
That's a 5-round tournament. We had 19.
Yeah, I was really proud of our 19, but I'm feeling a little ashamed now.
Size doesn't matter.
Says the small person. The only people who say that are the people who don't have size on their
side. So here we have a photo of our local tournament, folks. 19 players.
Some folks in there.
Yeah, there's Casey in the front there. Austin is next to him, his buddy. The winner down there in the front. I'm the guy in the very back. So how did you do, Casey?
Not well. I took I did 11 out of 19. I mean, 12. I guess that's halfway. What, 12? Oh, I was 12. Sorry. When it starts getting down that low, you just really stop paying attention. Because I mean, it's just depressing. Sorry, is that messing with my mic at all?
I did not hear what you were saying, so.
All I'm saying is, it's a little depressing when you're that low on the, and you kind of start paying attention. So.
And tell us a little bit. I mean, how was your experience with the tournament?
Well, I mean, it was good. We had it at Shiv Games. Had 19 folks, so that's always great. Had great turnout. Shiv is, I won't say it's a great place to play because it's kind of small when you get 19 people in there.
Yeah, I've got some photos here of some of the tables. Down at the bottom there, there's One-Front Corridors table. I played on that first round. There's a Renaissance Fair stone table. Played on that one. second round, and then you played on one of the far end there on the second round. So, um, this type of game really requires a lot of terrain, and that does make it a little bit of a stretch for a small store.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad because I had offered to bring some of my own terrain. I actually did, but when he said no, I didn't want to, kind of step on his authority. But I think we definitely could have used a little better terrain setup. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the armies that we saw there?
Yeah, we saw a nice list. Combined Army, Nomads, Tohas, Left, Hawk Islam. I think we got pretty much everybody. But everybody in there, right?
Did anybody bring Eugene?
There was a JSA player.
Okay, then I believe we had everybody there. Maybe not necessarily every sectoral represented, but we had all the factions. Which is nice. And most factions had at least several players.
There's a couple of Hawk Islam players. A couple of Steel Phalanx.
Yeah, it was weird being playing other Steel Phalanx people.
We did not see any US Ariadne, which is interesting.
Yeah, we saw stuff from the US Ariadne sectoral, or from the starter box, but nobody actually playing them as a sectoral. I'm really not surprised, just because in general they have kind of a lack of options. I mean, what they have is good. But there's not a lot of diversity there.
So how were your matchups?
So my very first matchup, I played up against Bakunin, against a guy named Bjorn. We'll call him Ironsides. He earned it. Well, so why don't you tell us about the missions first? What missions were we playing throughout the game?
The first one was Comm Center. And the missions kind of got we played two of the new ones?
Just one, I believe. We played Comm Center, then we played Frontline, and then we played whatever we felt like, because it got all confused.
Original posting had us for Antenna Field. We ended up playing different, whichever was Antenna.
Yeah, does it have Antenna in it? Does it say Field? Do you want to play this match? Yeah, it just quickly turned into whatever we felt like.
Yeah, it was just a little goof on the organizer's part, but that, it was a fun day.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good spread of missions that we had going on there. So it wasn't like all you were doing was just flipping switches. You weren't just killing everybody. You had a lot of different stuff that you were doing throughout the day. So in my first match, I played against a Bakunin player. There's some people out there who say that Bakunin can't hang with the rest of them. People who say that have never played a good Bakunin army, because a Bakunin army can bring pretty much everything. You want ODD? It can bring ODD. Heavy weapons? It can bring heavy weapons. Infiltrators? It can bring infiltrators. And generally, what it brings is not second rate either. It's all very good. So, my opponent, he brought a very nice list. He had a league team of Zoras, he brought Brando Castro, who he infiltrated in, wisely, I would say. Had some snipers. He had some Ubercoat Commando, which quickly died to death. And that's all I generally remember. I mean, I know he had some other stuff going on there, but I can't quite. Oh, he had a whole bunch of zeros, too. Because they make for nice specialists. So this was one of those missions where I really just kind of screwed it up. And he took full advantage of me screwing it up. So, yeah, I totally missed a sight lane, and I left like a whole link team basically out in the open. And he just walked in with a Moira. In his active turn, he used a Moira with an HMG just to, walk out there and, destroyed everyone. So it didn't matter if I was dodging. It didn't matter if I was shooting. All of my stuff was dying. Yeah, so my first turn, I lost pretty much half of my army. Thanks to that. And I don't care who you are, but when you lose half your army, you're not going to have a great game. So, I kind of tried to fight back as much as I could, but, so the Moiras came in, then Brando Castro came in, and, actually only killed 2 guys, so I'm kind of happy about that. Because that could have been much, much worse. Castro does what he does, and he does it well. And so that was kind of the first turn. My second turn was, trying to plug holes in my army and try to shuffle stuff around. And for the most part, I was kind of able to come back. I took in Comp Center, you've got the 9 objectives in the middle. You're also trying to kill specialists or kill more. So, yeah, I tried to flip as many antennas as I could. But this is where I say, like, Bjorn did not, he played it perfectly. And he just, he stuck in there. He didn't give me an inch anywhere. He didn't let up the pressure. And he basically shut me out 10-0. Yeah, that was, even the TO looked at me and was like, really? That just happened? And I was like, yeah, that just happened. So tell me about your first round.
My first round was on that Bug Hunt Corridors table. Very interesting table set up just because it's close quarters heavy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Boarding shotguns and flame templates all the way.
It's a list that I'm like, or it's a table I wasn't expecting to play a list on. But it was very interesting. Hang on, I have more in front of me. But yeah, my first player was Phalanx. So the army you played or you have, and it was just I was like, all right, well. My original thought was, do I play a list that is specialist heavy and hope they don't die, or play a list that's light on specialist and then hope he doesn't go crazy?
Yeah, and what did you decide?
I took my lessers. I had my 4 specialist list.
Now, I'm going to say that this was against my advice.
Yes. Casey was telling me, because I brought 2 lists, Casey was advising me not to go for having more specialists. And I was like, with this is one of the newer missions. So I was like, okay.
True. Now, granted, I mean, all of my knowledge up until this point in this mission have been theoretical.
Yeah. This is a very interesting setup on this mission because, like we said before, you get you have 2 goals. One is to turn on the antennas. There's 9 of them on the table, and the other goal is to kill specialists. So I ended up giving 6 control points to his 3, and then
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. He killed a lot of my specialists. He killed 1 more specialist than I did of his, and it was just came down to that just a little bit, but I was able to pull off a minor win. So I got 2 points overall in the tournament.
Yeah, so let's step back for a minute and kind of talk about this mission, and just the way it's scored. You get 4 points for connecting more beacons than the other person. You get 3 points for killing more specialists than the other person. You get 1 point for just killing more in general, and then you get 2 points for your classifieds. So, I mean, if you just do the math, you can see right away that if you connect more beacons and you get your classified, it's going to be very, very difficult for your opponent to win this game. I'm not saying you're going to blow it out. However, you're going to win. At least that was my theory going in. It sounds like that's kind of the way it worked out for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, first round, it's always weird going hard on the first round of a tournament because if you get to 10 points and you get max, that puts you in with everybody else who's got the more competitive list.
True.
And so you feed yourself to the sharks a little bit.
Fair enough.
But my list was not set up in that way to get me the Uber win. So
yeah, I mean, to have the Uber win, I'm really not sure where that balance lies yet. Just because
you need to take
that's gonna take some time because you are still gonna need killers. You can't just have a bunch of specialists running around.
Yeah. So it's like, where do you draw the line? More specialists, less specialists. So, but it was very interesting to play.
Yeah, I had fun with that mission. It was interesting and just different. It didn't feel like you were doing the same old. So you won. I lost hard. Since you won, we'll let you go next. But tell us about your second mission.
That was Frontline. Frontline is very Frontline scores at the very end of the game, and it's more so put how far you push up into the other person's territory. The person I went up against was running a panel military orders list with a link team of knights and good old Joan of Arc.
Oh wow, nice. Well, I mean, not nice.
So it was a cat and mouse game, pretty much. Like I could put a wound on a guy, and then he would heal it up. So like at the very end of the game, he had a lot of points left, only because he was healing up his people.
Mm-hmm.
I would break the link. He would reform it. It was a tough match. ended up, ended up losing that one, but it was just a very tough match.
Yeah, I mean, Joan is no joke. I feel like you don't see her quite as much, but she brings the pain. Especially when someone knows how to run her.
Yeah, because like she's got the thing where she breaks her link and puts the coordinator order.
Yeah, I am sorry for you over that one.
Well, it is what it is. How was your second round?
So my second, I actually played my buddy Austin, which was kind of fun. Me and Austin, we spar against each other, and we always joke about face each other terms, but we really don't ever seem to cross paths until this time. And Austin and me, it just depends on the day, who's gonna win between the two of us. And so as you said, this mission was Frontline. So for those of you who don't know, the way that Frontline works is you're trying to hold different areas of the board, and the farther away from your deployment zone it is, the more points it's worth at the very end. So specialists don't really mean anything in this one. This mission is really just all about, trying to take and hold.
Well, you could also, you're in telecom.
Yeah, this was one of those ones. It's been modified. It's been modified from last year, in that you can swap out your classified objective for your Intelcom card, which is interesting because some of the cards are definitely better than other cards. Some cards are rather low in points. Other cards are crazy high amounts of points, and that can kind of come into play after or at the end of the game. And it's one of the reasons I'm really not sure about this one, because I feel like that takes away from the tactical aspect just a little bit.
Well, it's something you have to choose at the start of the game, right?
Sure, but I mean, if you draw like a crappy low card, then you just got a crappy low card.
But you can still use that for an objective point.
True. But let's be honest, the amount of objective points it's worth is not staggeringly great. So yeah, it's funny because Austin brought a list that I had actually helped him develop. We're like, oh, this would be good, or this would be amazing. And it consisted of a Moran with crazy koalas, a Lunacod with crazy koalas, a lot of hackers. He had a Wildcat Link team with heavy rocket launcher, set up in a beautiful position. And and attack. And Austin has played this list quite a bit. This was his LVO list, so he knows what he's doing with this list. And so I was a little worried. Now, fortunately, I brought Hector. And Hector ain't afraid of no tag. So Austin got the I won the roll off. I let Austin go first, because in this mission you really just want to go second no matter what. So he picked a spot that had a nice, had good field of view, and it was good for his link team. And I think he picked the right side for him. But and he didn't play it wrong. He took out my long range shooting, and then he took his tag and he had it supported by hackers. He had crazy koalas around it, and he just kind of held up the middle of the board and it kind of just said, "Come at me, brah."
And did you?
unfortunately, Steel Phalanx is the army that's, when you say come at me, brah, they come at you.
Challenge accepted.
So I ran out just like a couple of cheap guys, got rid of all his crazy koalas. They didn't really do what he had hoped they would. And yeah, and then I kind of looked at it. I said, oh, I also had Celia. She put fairy dust on Hector. So with his Timbot, he was, to try and do a hack against him, it was -6, and he had DTS 9. So, and my thought was, I didn't really need to worry about hackers after that. I figured that would protect me. And it was correct. He basically just shrugged off 7 hacking arrows against him. And the great thing was, without that -6 modifier, every single one of those would have been a success. So fairy dust is amazing. Yeah, so basically I just took all my orders and I just ran Hector and this Myrmidon Link team right up the middle of the board. Chucking smoke as I went, and Hector went up and he just punched that tag right in the face. And when you get into close combat, you get +1 burst for every ally in there. And he had martial arts 4, and so I gave him another +1. So he was critting on 17s and had burst 4 with an explosive close combat weapon.
Yeah, that'll take down a tag.
Yes, it will. Especially an iguana. There's some tags that are actually pretty good in close combat. The iguana is not one of those tags. The iguana wants to shoot with you, not fight with you. So yeah, I ran up, got rid of all his crazy koalas, punched his tag in the face, and then I actually ended my turn with my Myrmidon League team in his deployment zone. Yeah, I almost feel bad just punching him that hard right out of the gate. And so Austin, bless his heart, he just didn't know what to do with that. And to be fair, most people don't. He maybe could have taken out Hector. Hector had gotten 1 wound on him, but he was just afraid to deal with him, and so he just kind of chose not to. And having a couple of Myrmidons plus Hector in his deployment zone really just kind of threw him off his game. And he didn't know how to respond to that. By the end of it, I had taken over that deployment zone. I owned my deployment zone. At the end of the game, we were slightly tied, or it was really close. And he's like, well, I'm going to play my Infocom card. And it was like, 17 points. And I'm like, haha, I'm going to play mine too. Mine's worth 40 points.
Oh.
And I think that was the only thing that he was really mad about. Everything else, he's like, yeah, either that was a good move or, that was a mistake on my part. And, he was pretty amicable about it. But when he saw that 40-point card, I might have lost a friend.
What? Did you tell your daughter? I mean...
I just told her that Austin had a bad game. So, yeah, I did feel bad about that. And that's where I say, I feel like those Infocom cards take away from the tacticalness of the game. Because at the end of the day, theoretically, Austin should have beat me. In that area. But because I had an Infocom card that was worth more than his, I just got to give him the finger. So, all right. So tell us about your second game.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah. Got ran over by.
Oh, that's right.
By Joan.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm kind of in the painting zone right now.
So how did your
okay.
third round go?
So in my third round, I actually played, I believe, the guy that you played in your first round, because I played another Steel Failings player.
Okay.
Good guy. I believe his name was Brian. He actually works at the shop. And so I was a little worried because he's like, oh, well, I'm like, so are you new to Infinity? You know, just kind of tried to size him up. He's like, well, you know, I've been playing this army for, you know, I think this is like my 4th game with them. And I was just kind of laughing like, how many games have you played with other armies? They're like, oh, I've got like 4 or 5 other armies. I was like, all right, I see how this is going to go. It was almost a mirror. It was almost a mirror match for us. You know, we both brought lists with Hector. We both used Achilles to proxy Hector. They were slightly different. I had a little more diversified list. He was, he just kind of went with Myrmidon spam, which I'm not saying he's wrong for that because Myrmidons are amazing. Yeah, and it's not like I made any mistakes in that game. He didn't make any either, and he was rolling a lot of crits.
Oh.
And you know, when your opponent's rolling crits like that, you're done. And so, like, I kind of tried to hang on till the very end, but at the end of the day, there was not a whole lot I was able to do. So I did get my classified in. That was the only points I got in. So, but yeah, that was my last game. There's not a whole lot to tell there, unfortunately. I wish there was. You know, I played with Hector again. You know, we had some confusion over, you know, what we were supposed to be playing. And so I wasn't actually going to bring Hector a second time. But with the change in mission, I decided it might be worth it to give him another shot. And he works okay, but it kind of proves the point that close combat is just not order efficient. No matter, I mean, even when you're amazing at it, there's probably better things that you can do. You know, I will say it's not fun having to deal with ODD. I understand why everybody complains. Yeah, ODD is not fun for Steel Failings to deal with either, folks. So that was it. I mean, he basically just shut me out. So tell me about your mission.
My third round was against Combined Army. We played the antenna mission where it was 3 antennas in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mentioned before, terrain's always hard to come by for Infinity. To have a whole to host a tournament for 19 players, terrain becomes a very big issue. The table I was playing on was a 40K terrain table. So it was kind of Euro style, where there was a lot of open lanes, and he had an avatar. So I was like, I'm not gonna be sticking my my nose out because I'm gonna get caught up. But I played it sneaky, or not sneaky. I played a little bit more tactical. having my troops go prone and crawl through the mud. Was able to shoot some markers out, and my list had 3 hackers, so I was able to target people and then use my guided missile remote to shoot missiles.
Okay.
And then
How did that work for you?
it works pretty well. His second turn, he ran his avatar, or the third turn, he ran his avatar straight up the middle, just gun me down and take over the antennas. I was able to lock him down with hacking programs, and so it's much the whole turn. He would roll reset, I would roll rehacking. And then,
so every time we did, you were just like, nope, good night.
Yeah, because I don't want this big, huge. Because like one thing about Hawk is Hawk, I have an HMG on my list, but it's not a cool HMG. It doesn't have multi ammo or anything like that. So I can't. I can shoot at something, but it's not going to take down a heavy armor. And so I was like, all right.
Might.
Well, it might, but it's not going to do as great as ACG on a guided missile.
True.
So that was my third round was just trying to keep the avatar locked down and go for the objectives. And I was able to. In hindsight, I should have just shot missiles at the avatar first, and then go for the objective. But I went the other way around and locked him down, and then went for the objectives. So I ended up with 2 out of 3, and he only got 1. So it was another minor win.
Hey, you know what? A win is a win, dude.
I mean, pretty much. I took 75% of his armor out, so.
Hey, like I said, a win is a win, dude. I think you did very well, especially against the Avatar. That's just tough. Like, he's nasty, especially the fact that you're able to shut him down so well, because he's, what is he, like, whip 15, BTS 6 or something?
Yeah.
He's a boss.
Yeah, but luckily, like I said, 3 hackers. He's going to be rolling dice.
Yeah, that's a lot of dice rolling for him.
And Infinity is one of those funny games where you can have the best list in the world, but if the dice love you, you're great. If the dice hate you, you're going to feel it.
Yep, I know that feeling.
So what did you think of these newer missions?
I liked them. I really did. I'm still not sure I really like Infocom or what it does. Like, that just feels... It just doesn't feel tactical. Like, I feel like it's taken away from the game.
Oh, the cards?
Yeah. And I mean, I've had a lot of people try to explain to me why they think it is tactical, but I remain unconvinced. So that's kind of my only real complaint is Infocom. What did you think?
It's a new bit of tactics. We were discussing this earlier this week. I don't bring engineers, and that's just one of the because I don't like the options of engineers in Hawk Islam.
Which is funny because I think that the Kaplan Tactical Services Engineer is a great engineer.
And so, yeah, I don't run them. So I'm like, well, if I pull this card, I'm not going to, if I have the option, I'm just going to use it for Infocon.
But you don't have Infocom on every mission. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
True.
And so it feels like you're just like gambling with it then.
I am a gambling man.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, your gambling outweighed my tactics. So there we go. I can say whatever I want, but you can just be like, hey, who did better? I'll be like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, you do bring up a good point. It's a very interesting how everything rolls out at the end.
So yeah, did you end up bringing any prizes home? I sure did not.
I got a poster.
Oh, there you go. Is it a nice poster, or is it the usual Corvus Belli? Here's a half-naked check.
It's the one with the Coom biker on it, so it's a half-naked guy almost.
Oh, there you go.
Shirtless guy.
Well, I mean, that works for you. It's pretty much the same thing, right?
I would rather have the Novel Robotines in a pinup spread. That's just me.
You say that, but you have them. I think, do you have them and they're not painted?
I actually just bought them. So they are new in the box right now.
Yeah, you paint those up. Those are one of those models that I just can't bring home.
You can. You have to explain why.
I'm sorry, man. Like, once you have a wife and kids, you just can't have some of those models. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, the craftsmanship on them are fine, but it's like, nope, I'm not gonna explain that one to my daughter. Someday you'll have daughters too, and you'll understand.
I fear that more than anything else in life.
Sorry, I'm almost done here with this.
What are you doing? Or what are you painting?
So what I'm doing right now is I'm pre-shading Malifaux figures.
Oh.
Let's see.
Is that hobby now?
You know, we had a guy in our group. This is okay. This chafes me just a little bit. He was very much about Malifaux for a long time, and we were finally like, okay, we'll get into it, right? You know, we'll all make Chad happy. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have said his name. We'll all make this guy happy. You know, we're all doing the Malifaux, and I built these models, and honestly, I hate these models.
Does it drive you a little nuts building them?
Yeah, so like, I mean, Malifaux models in general are known for not being friendly to assemble, and it's everything they say is true. It's not fun. But then immediately, like, the guy turns around and goes, yeah, guys, I've been playing this new game called Guild Ball, and it's amazing. We should all do it. And I'm just like, I'm looking at these guys that I all built it, and kind of, I'm looking at these guys that I built and built. I'm so angry I don't even want to paint them. I'm just like, I hate you so much, Chad. I hate you so much. So, but I already built them. I let them sit for a week or so just because I was so angry that I wasn't going to, I refused to paint them or do anything with them to like cool off a little bit. So, yeah, put a little pre-shading on them. See here. You can see that guy here. The lighting angle isn't amazing, but just kind of getting some black, gray, and white on there, and just kind of focusing on, getting certain areas to pop out. See if I can make it. You can see him a bit better. I don't know. Anyways, so that's what I've been working on. So I've really come to enjoy using an airbrush. It saves a lot of time. It makes things look nice. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with these guys next, because if you look at the models, they're pretty much just brown. So I could just paint them brown, but that seems a little, slap a bunch of brown on, and then kind of paint the flames a little bit. That, I don't know. We'll see. They might stay like this for a little while while I figure things out.
You can always practice with color theory and go away from the norm.
Okay, what's the opposite of brown on the color wheel?
I mean, you don't have to follow the studio scheme.
That's true. Okay. Here's the thing. So here's their leader here.
I mean, there's many
this is their
things I
leader.
don't care about, so you can go wild.
This is like, I was kind of thinking about something that I was gonna, finally do something in a studio color scheme. But you raise a valid point. So here's, guys, we're just thinking out loud here. So if anybody has any better ideas, feel free to pipe up. If there's actually anybody listening, or drop a comment below. But Lady Justice here, she's got her model is just distinct in that she has just some bright, flaming red hair. So maybe I instead of making all their jackets or their dusters or whatever you want to call them brown, maybe I make them all red. What do you think about that? So I would kind of go in with the shadows a little bit with some green. That's actually a decent idea, Alan.
Hey, I come up with them every once in a while.
Okay, so let's play around with this idea. So if I made their jackets red, I could stick with maybe like a black pants on them. I think that'll look fine. What color should I make the flames coming off of them?
You can do blue as your contrast color, or purple. Are you wanting it to be bright, or you want it to be warm or cool?
I'd like this fire. Oh boy, because at first I would say like cold, like kind of this nice eerie spectral. So maybe like an ice blue or something. You think that might work?
Yeah, I'd say red with a green shading to get that darker greens, and then blue. Blue with a little bit of purple to or purple highlighted with blue.
Yeah, that might be an interesting idea here. Either way, I don't think I'm going to get to that tonight. I'll let this sit and really dry and harden up while I kind of think about how I want to attack these. So what are you working on, man?
I've got my gulams here. I've been playing Infinity again. I'm like, oh, I need to finish them up. I just have the guns and need to do.
Guns are always like the last thing that I do, and so I always just kind of cheese out on them. I go, guns are gray and metal, so I'll just make them gray metal. Which, I mean, really isn't the way to go. But it's kind of what I always end up doing.
See, I'm just going along, just like regular grays and blues for the colors with some white highlights. I always have an issue with chipping. Chipping is such a hard thing to get right. Well, it looks like we might have lost Casey. Oh, but it is that time of the night. I guess we'll call it here. Thank you guys for watching. Uh, have you been playing Infinity? Did you go down to Rumble at Route 66? Let us know. What do you think of these new missions? Love to hear from you. But that's it for the Atomic Salt Show. So give this a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to see more. We'll be back next week. This has been the Atomic Salt Show, and we've just blown your mind. Good night, folks.